Prince podcast. I'm Isabelle Brodegam here with Michael Flory, founder, CEO, and my dad. And today we're going to dive into core values. We're going to talk about Custom Built's core values and why they're so important, not only to what we do, but also to the clients that we bring in. So welcome.
Well, I'm excited as always to be with you, Isabelle, and as our marketing manager and also my daughter.
Yeah.
This is so fun. And today is a really cool topic as we get to dive into talking about core values. And remember early on when I was getting the business going, just thinking about core values and trying to figure out when you're in your early 20s, you don't even really know who you are. And sometimes when you're in your 40s, you're still trying to figure out who you are. But the idea of core values didn't seem super important at that time. It was like one of those things that like was on the list of to-dos, but to actually figure out how to do that and figure out who we are. So I'm excited to dive in today and kind of share what our process was and, kind of how we got to where we're at and how we always look at those like once a year and maybe just make sure that those are still right for who we are.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think they definitely are like the life behind who we are as a company. So let's go ahead and share our core values.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got 5 core values, and I think I hear companies go anywhere from like 3 to 7, or you get more than 7. You have a hard time remembering, and I think most people have a hard time remembering with 3 or 4. So, but we have 5. Our 5 core values are family focused, proactively helpful, passionately committed, grow or die, and the last one, after we die, we have fun.
After we die, we have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, so those are our core values. And then for each of our core values, we've got like what we call like a little snippet or something that kind of defines that. And then we have kind of stories behind each of those core values and what they mean and how that reflects who we are.
Yeah. And I think one thing that's interesting about our core values is the first 3 that you mentioned. When did we solidify those? What year? Was it like
2017, 18.
Okay. So we had those 3 and then we actually added on the other 2.
Right.
In 2022, I want to say.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So it's something that has developed with our company in a sense. And like you said, you didn't start out with core values, but we do have core values now, and they really are a reflection of who we are, not just like core values we put out there. It's like we live and breathe those, and so that's what people say about us, and that's what we want as a team.
Yeah. A lot of times you go into places and like the core values would be on the wall. I think of like the hospital when we had kids, and depending on the situation and what's going on, and sometimes the core values feel a little bit more like warm than sometimes like a hospital might feel, depending on what hall you're in. So like, but I think it's really important that the core values are in us, you know, and the idea and the reason to have a vision and to have core values, and why really at the top of our vision, our VTO, we call it our Vision Traction Organizer. If you're not familiar with EOS is a framework that we use at Custom Built. We use parts and pieces of it, but that's how we really solidified our core values. Is we actually took time. Can you imagine this, business owners? Listen clearly. Schedule a whole 8 to 10 hour day out of your office, out of the day-to-day, shut your phones down and get together with the key leaders in your business and start trying to disseminate who and what you are. That's really how we formed our core values. And so in the process of implementing EOS, we went out and hired a professional EOS implementer. Eric's great implementer. And Eric helped us kind of walk through a session where we sort of helped us like grab words and it was a whole process. And then like we took a few weeks and then kind of like refined those and then really landed on who we were. And that's where we landed with 3.
Right.
And then we had somebody that was really good on our team at that time that we had a fractional integrator who had done this before and kind of helped us like solidify those and like passionately committed. We're like, well, it's more than passionately. well, what is it? Like, we're passionately committed, you know?
Yes.
And so that was always, it's good to have somebody that maybe is good with the words and is able to kind of put them together. And then we wrote snippets that kind of describe like, what do those actually look like? Cause to say family focus, when I say that, any number of things can pop into your head, you know? But because we're in the business of transforming homes, transforming places that people live into homes that they love, family focus is kind of number one. But when I talk about that, I talk about us. Like,
yes.
it's you and your life and your home and how, you know, your personal life is. We realize that everything that happens, you know, after hours is going to affect me and my performance and my, what I can bring to the business. If I don't have my health, if I'm sick, not at work, you know, if I got relationship challenges, you know, like I'm thinking about those when I'm working, you know? And so when we talk about family focus, it's like, and we understand that nobody's perfect and everybody has issues, but we want to help people. So for us, family focus is being focused on their families, their key relationships. And so that's our kind of our top number one core value. And I like that it sticks.
Yeah.
But it's also, some people might think, well, what if I don't have a family? Well, everybody's got a family, right? You might have a dog, you might have a cat, you know, like you
might
have
friends.
Yeah.
Close,
You
like
have
family.
friends. I mean, but you know, for instance, you know, when mom and I got married, you know, I had, you know, lots of connections and relationships, and we would go places and she'd be like, you know, everybody, you know, and her dad was that way as well. Papa, your papa, everywhere you go, he knows somebody. He's an outgoing person. He maintains a lot of relationships. A lot of times you'll find that visionaries in companies will be that kind of a personality.
Right.
Well, just because you got a lot of friends doesn't mean that you have a family. You know, it's those few key friends that you might have along the way. You know, so, but ultimately, it really starts with you. You know, when I think about family focused, it starts with you. How are you inside of yourself? And like, as we grow and as we transform as people, it's becoming home to ourselves, becoming home within ourselves, loving ourselves. And that to me embodies family focused. So,
yeah.
And when people come to us and when they start working for us and they come into a company that has these lofty goals and lots of opportunity, and we're a high performing company with a high touch company, it's going to be a place where you're going to grow.
So true. And I think one thing that you just mentioned there is key. Core values, they're for you in your company. They're for your clients, but they're also for people looking to come to your company. So I know a lot of our key hires recently, I mean, they've looked at our core values and they resonate deeply with those.
Right.
And it's something that we hire off of. Like, we look for people who are family focused, practically helpful, passionately committed, have a grow or die mindset. It's kind of an intense mindset, right? And then love to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, we look for those people. And when I look around our team today, it's pretty cool because everyone on our team has aspects of those within their personality and just within who they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a real key component. So there's two things that happen when we, as leaders, first of all, understand who we are. And then when we bring in the key leaders into the team, they're going to align with our core values, or there's going to be misalignment. When there's misalignment, confusion happens in companies because you have people going in different directions. If you're not solid on the very core value piece, you're going to have, you know, fragmentation going on within the part of your leadership. And with EOS, one of the beautiful things about EOS and the structuring your business and hiring a coach to help you with that is that there's an outside person that can kind of be like a mediator type and sort of help you figure out who your roles are. But before you even get to roles and all that, like if you've attracted somebody in that just doesn't really like, they don't have the grow or die attitude. They're like, I'm already here and I'm not changing, you know, like that person is going to, there's going to be a rub with that type of a person on your team because they're not like everybody else. So these core values are going to, first of all, they embody who you are as a leadership team. Second of all, you begin to attract those kinds of people to you. And so when we look, it's very easy when we do our annual like check-ins with our teammates. It really is looking at the core values, the 5 core values. How are you doing in those areas? How are you in family focused? How are you in passionately committed? Grow or die. It makes it very easy to have an annual discussion to see where somebody's at in our company. The second thing, that it does as we're out in the marketplace, and this is a little trickier, right? Because in business, you're looking to, gain clients, right?
Yes.
And the last thing you want to do is say no to somebody because you're not a core value match. Like that can feel like you're in and out of the club. Ultimately, what I would say is that like it comes down to really attracting those people to your company. So you might dive a little bit more down into your marketing.
Yes.
We have a marketing strategy. And in that marketing strategy kind of talks a little bit more about the people, because you could have somebody that's a core value match that's just they don't have a house. So they're not going to be a client of ours, but the core values again can kind of give you a clue as to when you're hiring a client that is down to earth. That's one of the things that we say in our marketing strategy is down to earth versus, maybe somebody that only is going to be here once a year for a weekend. They might not be our ideal client. They may be, but they might not be. Depends on why they're doing the remodel and are these core values important to them?
Yeah. And again, like you said, one of the key things with core values is it's about projection. It's about projecting who you are. And as you do that, as you clarify your messaging and who you serve and how you serve that person, you attract those people to you.
Right.
So I think that's how we use core values within finding the right clients. Like you said, it's not about, oh, well, you're not family focused, so unfortunately we don't serve you. Like we would never say anything like that. It's just about let's really put out who we are.
Right.
And then that naturally is attracted to your business.
Right. Right. There's never absolutes, right? It's not black or white or all or nothing or, this or that, right? There's a median. And like even on our team, this is one of the beautiful things about core values is like when we go through and we look at like people analyzer, we call it, it's another EOS tool.
Yeah.
We can go through the core values and see like where are they stacking up and where are they not stacking up. We tend to see that, we have a bar, that kind of gives us an evaluation. If somebody is like a minus on two of our core values, and we do plus, minus, really simple.
So for each of the core values, we'll go through like Isabelle, for instance, family focused. Is she a plus or is she plus minus or is she a minus?
Right. Yep. And I think 2 plus minuses is what kind of our bar is. If we got 2 plus minuses, all right, we got to have a discussion and we got to do some coaching, but, let's say somebody is, has some health issues that go on in their family, or they lose a close person to them that quarter. Maybe they won't show up as hungry in the grow or die. Maybe the quarter before they read 10 books and they're bringing in all kinds of ideas and they're really tearing it up in their
they're
in their
passionately
role.
committed
Right.
and they're like all in on the grow or die.
But all of a sudden something starts going on. By having these core values and like evaluating what you think is, right for your company, will really help give you eyes on things sooner than later, because you're not just evaluating them by every time they do something well or every time they do something not so well. It's more of a overall, you get a better gut feel and a better understanding of where your people are showing up and where they're not.
Exactly. And it really is a framework to have a compassionate but direct conversation with that person, right? And it's not something that you're making up. It's just based on our core values and really a chance for you to care deeply about that person and to go and have that conversation that needs to be had.
Yep. And that kind of goes back to our number one core value, which is family focused. And really we're, when you boil all of our core values down and then you like stack them all together and you shake them all up and you compact them and it's like a diamond, and like, and it comes out at the bottom. Like we want to impact families, we want to impact lives, we want to make a difference. And so our mission really is to help people. So when they're not showing up in their core values, that's a great thing, because we as the leader or their boss, get to have that compassionate, direct conversation. And then you can have discussions around these core values as opposed to having, discussions around the 10 principles of, having a good company or something, like this book that you just read and you got excited about 2 or 3 things. I mean, I've done that many times over the years, and so that's one of the things that I think for us has really centered us and given us, a true north
Yes.
on what we're looking for in our people and what we're looking for as we go out to the marketplace.